Hey there, everyone! Thank you all for tuning in to Nerds' Fall 2021 audio dramas. I'm your producer, Zoya Uzaman, and I hope you all enjoy the lineup we have today. Our lovely writers, actors, and sound editors have been hard at work the past few months to bring this to you all, and I'm super excited to be able to share it today. Let's get started. Without further ado, here's our first audio drama. This one's titled Ghost Stories, written by Artemis Pay, Benjamin Mashburn, Elizabeth Simons, and Katie Moore, starring Jacob Jall, Olivia Herbert, Abby Waller, Shayna Lepatin, and Emma Label. Edited by Ari Richardson.
We have to get out of this stupid rain.
All our bags are soaked. Who's got the flashlights?
Remind me again whose dumb idea it was to go camping? I could be at a Phoebe Bridgers concert right now, but no! I'm stomping mud with you idiots instead.
Guys, could you not walk so fast? I can't keep up and it's getting dark. Ow! Why'd you stop all of a sudden?
Nothing. I just thought I saw someone behind the trees.
Hey, in here, I found a cave that can fit all four of us.
Reagan, dude, I love you, but this is...
Gross.
Dark.
Dry. Can we get some light up in here?
Oh, shoot, my flashlight's dead.
Mine too.
Same here.
Mine works.
Give.
Nah.
Please?
Archie, I'm not letting you anywhere near our one source of light.
Yo, why'd you bring Scary Carrie?
I'm right here.
Why'd you bring Carrie with us again?
I don't know. I just thought it'd be cool to hang out with the old crew again. You know the Bio 401 study group that aced the final together? We stayed up for 3 days straight helping each other study.
I was vibrating for a week afterwards because of all the Red Bull.
Well, while we're waiting for the storm to pass, we should play a game or something.
Ooh, how about we tell scary stories?
Right here in a dark-ass cave? No, thank you.
Aw, is someone afraid of a little ghost story? Scaredy cat, scaredy cat.
Archie, grow up and stop picking on Banks.
Actually, I have a story.
No fucking way that just happened.
Alright, Scary Carrie, let's hear it.
Well, I could tell a more traditional story, but I realize that most of you aren't from around here, which makes it the perfect opportunity for a tale that's more local. One that is more of a warning than a scary story to tell in the dark. In fact, we shouldn't even mention them in the dark. You're laughing now, but will you be when you're alone later tonight? They might even appear right now with all of us here. They don't care. Just listen. In Michigan, especially near the forests, those who are smart do not let anyone into their home after dark. Here is the very real tale of one of those who were not. Tommy had just finished a closing shift at the convenience store. The store was just a short walk away from his house, so he never drove to work. He loved the quiet sounds of the woods at night, unblemished by the busy sounds of the day. However, on this particular night, as he trudged through the forest, Tommy couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He periodically looked over his shoulder, hoping to catch a glimpse of some owl or squirrel staring back at him, so he could laugh at himself for being silly. But he saw nothing. In fact, tonight the woods were eerily quiet. Tommy became anxious to get back home. He quickened his pace and tapped his fingers together as he walked. He could swear that he would see dark figures out of the corners of his eyes every now and then. He knew that it was just his imagination messing with him, feeding off of his fear, but that did nothing to keep the thoughts of what if away. As soon as his house was in sight, Tommy broke into a sprint, fumbling with the lock before rushing in and slamming the door behind him. Suddenly, something brushed up against his leg.
Oh, Jasper, it's you.
His cat never failed to greet him at the door. Seeing his cat made Tommy feel more relaxed because Jasper was the type of cat to be afraid of his own shadow. So if something was wrong, he would have bolted immediately. Tommy shook his head with a laugh and went about his usual routine. He had just gotten out of the shower when he heard a knock coming from the front door.
That's strange. Who would be at my door so late?
All his worries suddenly rushed back. Tommy quickly put on his clothes and crept down the stairs. The knocking grew louder and quicker as he got closer.
Yeah, it gets louder because he's getting closer. Duh.
Shut up, Archie.
Perhaps someone needs my help. There's probably no reason to worry.
When he reached the door, Tommy looked through the peephole and was surprised to see a small child. The child wore clothes that looked like they belonged a few decades in the past. Their head was angled down so that Tommy could not see their eyes. Tommy's anxiety quickly morphed into concern as he opened the door.
Hi, mister. I need to call my mom. Can you let me in?
How about I just call her here, kid? What's her number?
Tommy felt as though the air around him had gotten heavier.
I don't know her number. Can I come in?
The kid responded, voice now slightly more menacing than before.
Didn't you want to call her? You would have to have her number for that, right?
Tommy shifted on his feet, unable to take his eyes off the child.
Come on, mister. Let me in. I can call her.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
Let me in.
The child looked up, and Tommy took an involuntary step back. Their eyes were like the centers of black holes, indescribably black. They held Tommy in a sort of trance-like state. Tommy's eyelids grew heavier, and his legs felt like they were made of lead. Suddenly, Tommy snapped back to reality and slammed the door on the child. Breathing heavily and shaking with his back to the door, Tommy sank to the floor.
Oh, should I call the police? But what would I say? A child just asked me for help and I slammed a door in their face?
Suddenly, Tommy let out a laugh.
Yeah, you know what? It's probably just a neighborhood kid trying to play a trick on me. Yeah, that sounds about right. It has to be that.
Tommy tried desperately not to think about the fact that no kid in their right mind would be out in a forest in the middle of the night. Feeling reassured, though shaken, he had just gotten up to continue his routine when the knocking came at the door much louder than before.
Let me in. 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 Let me in.
The child's voice cut off suddenly, and the knocking stopped.
Damn kids.
Tommy cursed, masking his fear with anger.
Perhaps I'll call my brother and ask to spend the night at his house. Yes, that's just what I'll do.
Tommy nodded to himself. Before he could unlock his phone, the knocking started again. However, this time it wasn't just on the door. It seemed to be coming from everywhere. The walls, the windows, the doors, ever increasing in volume. Let me in was a mantra resounding through the entire house.
Let me in.
Tommy sat on the floor, rocking back and forth with his hands over his ears, begging for it to stop. But the knocking kept getting louder. In a moment of pure panic, he stomped over to the front door, flung it open, and screamed.
Fine, you can fucking come in!
And just like that, everything stopped. Tommy breathed heavily into the night air. He could hear the calls of owls and insects filling the woods again. The child was nowhere to be seen. Tommy slipped quietly back into his house, but he was plagued by the feeling that he had just made a horrible mistake. Needless to say, Tommy didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he wasted no time in calling his brother and asking if he could come down to Florida. His brother readily agreed, and Tommy left that day, leaving a message at his work telling them he quit. Everything was fine for a few days. Jasper was adjusting nicely to his brother's home, happy to be spoiled by his brother's partner. Tommy's brother knew something had upset Tommy, but he didn't ask him about it. He figured whatever it was, Tommy would tell him when he was ready. Tommy hadn't come down for breakfast, so his brother went up to check on him. Instead, he was greeted by the sight of Tommy's lifeless body. The coroner determined that Tommy had passed away peacefully in his sleep, probably suffering from a rare condition. Tommy's brother didn't believe that for a second. His brother had always been in perfect physical condition, It had to do with the reason that Tommy had left his house suddenly and why he looked so frightened when he arrived. This is one of many real accounts of black-eyed children showing up on people's doorsteps and asking to be let in. Even those who are smart and don't let them in are peculiarly unlucky afterwards. So be careful of who you open your doors to. You never know who just might come knocking.
Why'd you turn the light off?
I didn't turn it off.
Not funny, Carrie. Turn it back on.
I'm telling you, I didn't touch it.
Carrie's just trying to scare us because their story was lame. It's totally not working, though.
Carrie, turn the flashlight back on, please.
I'm trying, but I think the batteries ran out. Here, listen.
May I come in?
Oh,
Did you hear that?
I think so.
Hi, may I come in?
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
who the fuck are you?
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to scare anybody. Here, let me turn my flashlight on first so you can see me. I was just trying to find a spot to hide from the rain, but looks like you all beat me here. My name's Peyton, by the way.
Hey Peyton, I'm Regan. These are my friends Archie, Banks, and Carrie. Are you from around here?
Not really. I was camping with my family, but we got separated once the storm hit.
Damn, that sucks. Too bad you can't stay here with us, though.
Dude, what the hell?
What? Didn't you hear Carrie's story? We shouldn't let them in?
That's made up. Besides, do you really want to sit in darkness until the rain stops?
Thanks, I appreciate it. So, what's this about a story?
We were just telling ghost stories to pass the time.
Sounds fun. Who hasn't gone yet?
I don't think Scaredy Cat has.
Hey, stop calling me that.
Scaredy Cat, Scaredy Cat.
Archie, do you ever shut up?
Only when I'm smooching your mom.
I have 2 dads. You know this.
If it wasn't so dark in here, you'd be able to see my eyes rolling back into my skull.
Okay, geez, if I tell a story, will you guys cut it out?
Not just any story. A ghost story.
Fine, here's my story. Once upon a time, there lived a happy family with a mother, father, a daughter, and 1 cat. The cat was black with bright yellow eyes, and he was remarkably handsome. But he was also a troublemaker.
Jasper.
Jasper loved getting into places he wasn't allowed.
Wait a minute. This cat's name is also Jasper?
It's called a coincidence.
Uh-huh.
Can I finish?
Be my guest.
Jasper loved getting into places he wasn't allowed. He seemed to possess the power of teleportation, mysteriously appearing behind the cupboards, inside the grand piano, on the chandelier, and then disappearing just as quickly. Eventually, they tied a bell to his collar so he would make noise when he moved. The parents were very fond of the cat, always buying him toys and delicious treats, but the daughter, not so much. It hadn't always been like this, but recently things had become tumultuous, as the daughter was a junior in high school now, and the parents were awfully worried about her getting into her dream college. They felt as if she wasn't trying hard enough, though they kept pushing her to get good grades, participate in clubs, and study hard. Sometimes, after a particularly awful fight, she found herself wishing that she could be like the cat, who never had expectations placed on him. Jasper could be a rascal, and her parents would shower him in love.
That's messed up.
Totally.
One morning, the daughter was rushing to school because she had slept in again after a long night of arguing with her parents about her grades. Grabbing her coffee, she got into her car and immediately started backing up. She forgot to check the camera. She stepped on the gas, and that's when she heard a bell jingling.
No.
Before she could slam on the brakes, she felt a bump as something crunched and her stomach sank. Trying to keep composure, she exited the car and crouched to look under the tires. There was Jasper, in one piece, but no longer alive. The daughter was mortified, but she knew she couldn't tell her parents, so she gently picked him up, wrapped his body in a plastic bag. Later, she took him out in the woods and buried him there.
Did her parents ever find out?
No, they just assumed he ran away, but they were extremely upset.
Is that the story then? The cat dies?
There's more. One night, as the daughter was sitting on the couch with her parents watching a movie, she felt a bubbling in her stomach that climbed up to her throat into her mouth. Thinking it was a burp, she stifled it. Soon her stomach started bubbling again and it climbed up to her throat to sit on her tongue. Not able to hold it any longer, she let it out. Meow.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was her reaction too. But before she could apologize, she felt her father's hand reach up to scratch behind her ears. She was shocked to discover it felt nice. Unable to contain her satisfaction, she began to purr. Soon her mother joined in on the scratching too. No words were spoken, and they all stared at the TV, pretending like nothing out of the ordinary was happening. But something had definitely happened that couldn't be reversed. At first, it was just in passing, but more and more frequently, the parents started calling her Jasper instead of her real name, and the daughter relished the new attention and love she was receiving. All his toys belonged to her now. They would drive her to the hospital sometimes for checkups to the vet, and on her 18th birthday, they gave her a most precious gift, a cat collar with a bell attached.
Okay, it's my turn now.
This isn't gonna be another your mom joke, right?
No, mine's a real one. So once upon a time, there was this, lady who wore clothes.
Oh, super descriptive.
Shut up, I'm trying to remember. So she's wearing something, right?
Oh, so not like your mom?
Hey,
Well, if you're not making the joke, someone has to.
whatever. And this woman wore a long scarf around her neck at all times, ever since she was a little girl. And she was a newcomer in this town, and
Oh, is she like a supervillain? Like she strangles people with her scarf?
would you be quiet and let me finish? Anyways, she and this man fall in love. Like, deep in love. And they get married, right? And everything's going really well, only she never takes the scarf off. One day, her husband finally gets the courage to ask her to take the scarf off. But she refuses. She won't tell him why either. He's so confused and betrayed, but he loves her enough that he doesn't ask any questions. But the scarf stays on, and over the years, he gets more and more suspicious and more nervous. What's she hiding from him? Aren't they supposed to tell each other everything? The curiosity is killing him. So one night, when they're asleep, he wakes up really quietly, rolls her over, and then he unravels her scarf, carefully, because he loves her, you know? He unravels her scarf, and her head, the head of his one true love, falls off in his hands. Little did he know that that scarf was the only thing holding her neck to the rest of her body. Horrified, he tries to fix his mistake, but it's too late. She's dead. He killed her.
Damn, that's messed up.
Yeah, that was pretty spooky.
Right?
Archie, I feel like I've heard that one before.
As if you could do any better. Why don't you share a story then?
Can we be done now, guys? Please?
We can't be done yet. After all, I have a story too.
Oh, do you? Well, come on, let's hear it then.
Once there was a demon. Now, this demon, despite being in the depths of the underworld, was always looking for a way to climb up towards the surface. After millennia of searching, they finally found a small crack that they began to slither up. Their bodies slowly wriggled and writhed up towards the surface.
That's it? They just looked around and then got to the surface? That's all it took?
Pushing metal and stone out of the way, in a push-up from the fire and brimstone towards the clean air above, pushing up through layers upon layers of sturdy brimstone, slowly, ever so slowly rising towards the surface. Eventually, they were able to fully break through the surface of hell into the boiling magma above, pushing further and further up through the melted earth towards the surface they so desperately longed for. Pushing through the viscous magma, they finally reached another ceiling and desperately burrowed their way through. By the time they reached this point, the path was far easier, and they pushed up, up, up through the dirt to break out onto the surface. However, having gone so far, they needed somewhere to rest.
Oh wow, how scary. The demon got to the surface and now it needs a nap.
Unfortunately, they found themselves in the middle of a dense forest on all sides. They couldn't find a person for miles. Eventually, after forcing its way to use what little energy was left, they found a cave partially hidden by the surrounding shrubbery. They darted into the cave as quickly as they could, pushing deep inside so they could finally rest. And there it sat, and waited, knowing that one day people would come.
So it was just sitting around waiting after traveling all this time? How boring.
Only a few days after the demon had arrived in the cave, it began to hear movement. The sounds of people rushing through the underbrush, desperate for an escape from the rain pouring down from above. Having waited so long to get here, the demon went out into the woods to see if there were any little morsels to be found. Weaving through the trees, they came across someone standing alone in the woods, having seemingly lost their way due to the downpour from above.
That sounds kind of like what we're doing tonight.
That's obviously the point. Pagan is trying to scare us by making it real.
The demon wound around the person's leg, darting quickly up their pants and shirt before going down their throat. The person gagged only for a moment as the dark thing slithered down their throat. With some shaking and creaking, the demon was able to slowly get the person to stand up and continue on their way back towards home. As they got more used to the body, they began to slowly make their way back towards the cave. Once they had gotten used to walking in the strange new body, they began to run towards home.
Wasn't Peyton out of breath when they got here?
Oh, come on. It's just a stupid story anyways.
Carefully creeping through the small opening to the cave, just as the others had done before it, the demon carefully entered back into its home. Just after crawling inside, they heard one of the others say, "Didn't you hear Carrie's story?" Ghost stories! How exciting, after all. What better way to learn what would scare them than most when the time came?
Oh, okay, this isn't funny anymore. Stop it.
After listening to the stories of the others, it was finally time for the demon to tell its own tale. When the demon reached the end of the tale, they decided that the stories the human had told were good enough to give them a fighting chance. They had been quite informative, after all. They decided to give the humans just a little bit of a head start, so they began counting down. 10,
Holy shit.
9,
Hold up.
Oh,
8,
Wait, what?
oh,
Wait,
fuck.
Sam, guys.
No.
Guys,
Holy
we need to
shit.
go.
Not doing this.
Come on.
No,
Five.
I am out. Let's
Oh
go.
my God.
Let's
4,
go.
This is not funny.
Get out of here. Come on. Go.
2,
Go.
Ah!
1.
Whoa. Chilling. Whew. Next up, we have Chlorsimax, written by Julia Watt, Abby O'Meara, Maddie Nolan, and Ben Selector, starring Ari Richardson, Emily Mann, Max Salemi, Adrian Beyer, Cami Robinson, and Quinn Newman. Edited by Abby O'Meara.
Try new Colossamax, the miracle pill that sheds weight faster than the vibrating belt or the treadmill, keeping those paunchy tummies in check and maintaining a healthy digestion duration. Trust me, folks, you don't want slow intestines. Colossamax speeds up your digestion tenfold. It works so fast you'll think it's magic. Let's hear from Nancy, who dropped 50 pounds of maternity weight after taking Colossamax.
Christ, Harry, would you turn it down? I won't hear the oven ding with the tube at that volume.
It's interesting, this stuff. I heard we're getting a shipment at the pharmacy tomorrow. They're saying it works like magic. Housewives are gonna go nuts. Get me a beer while you're over there, will ya, Maggie?
Here we have Mr. Harry Irwin, a rather unfortunate specimen of a man. He smiles, feeling very good about asking for her to cook for him. He believes it gives her a sense of purpose. What with not being able to have a child and all, to no great surprise, he has not been successful.
Get you a beer, all right. Why don't you get one yourself?
And here's Mrs. Irwin, a short, sweet woman who works the toughest job on the block, wife of Harry Irwin. She likes to be called Margaret if you asked her, or Maggie if you asked her husband.
You know, you could use some of this stuff, Maggie. You must be putting on some weight sitting around here all day. Now, don't worry, I would be too. Lucky for you, you've got a husband with special access to the latest pharmaceutical remedies.
Lucky, huh? Here you go.
Thanks, doll. Say, if you keep buttering me up, I'll buy you some of that Chlorzomax.
The next morning, Harry rushes off to the office, not even stopping to thank Margot for the breakfast she had cooked. Not that that was unusual, though. Poor Mrs. Irwin remembered how he'd kiss her on the cheek on his way out the door when they were just married, but then years passed, the child never came, and eventually he decided his previous charm was getting a bit too hard to maintain.
Hello, Harry. You never called last night. I was beginning to worry.
No, this is Mrs. Margaret Irwin. Harry just left for the office. You are...
Oh, Margaret! Loretta Hill, of course. I'm a school teacher just down the road.
Oh, it's lovely to make your acquaintance, Loretta.
And yours as well. Harry's been so helpful since I've started caring for my mother. Not to mention he's told me so much about you. He talks about you all the time down at the pharmacy.
Well, that's so good to hear. I'm glad he's able to help someone with all that overtime he's been working.
He is such a hard worker and has such a lovely personality as well. Isn't it just so refreshing when you meet a man that doesn't care so much about looks? Oh, but I've been monopolizing your time. Don't let me keep you. I must have you around sometime. I think we could be such great friends. Don't you?
Well, yes, that sounds lovely.
After that interesting phone call, Margot tunes in to the news about Russia's new satellite while doing the chores. Just as the station goes to commercial, try new Chlorzomax.
God damn it.
Mrs. Irwin, do you hear that knocking?
Good morning. Mrs. Irwin, is it?
The man knocking on her door was the tiny, with thick horn-rimmed glasses that were falling off his face. What a funny-looking door-to-door salesman.
Sorry, we don't need any atlases right now.
Oh, I hate to bother you, but we're just making the rounds of the cul-de-sac to introduce ourselves to the neighborhood. Just moved into town this weekend. Heard it was a good area for families. Oh, the Tykes are off at school, otherwise I'd introduce them to you too. But I'm Patrick Fletcher, father, everyman, and very lucky husband to this gal. This is the lady in question, Dorothy.
Margot's gaze drifted about a foot above little Pat's eye level.
Dorothy.
Oh, hello, Dorothy. Hubba hubba, awooga honk honk. 6 feet tall in her heels, with dark brown hair that fell to her shoulders, a smile of unfamiliar kindness, and the eyes the color of wheat fields lit by the late afternoon sun. This woman hadn't said a word to Margaret and held her heart in her hand.
Good morning, Dorothy.
Good morning. Pardon my husband. He's very eager to meet some new poker buddies. You can just call me Doris. Patty just got transferred to the nuclear power plant outside of town, so we wanted to introduce ourselves.
Well, goodness, I'm surprised you have the energy between the move and the new job. Very nice to meet you both.
The pleasure is all mine. Wonderful to make your acquaintance, Mrs. Irwin.
But please, Mrs. Irwin is what I call my mother-in-law. Call me Margaret.
Out of the garage next door emerges a spiffy car with a spiffy driver, Mr. Yates, the Irwins' next-door neighbor. He's a banker with their local branch, and in his spare time likes to maintain his 1953 Buick in his driveway. Wax in hand, hair slicked back, and sleeves rolled up to his biceps. Patrick's attention seems suddenly diverted elsewhere, towards the car, certainly.
Oh my, been meaning to compliment Mr. Yates on that nice car of his. Need to know what he uses on the shaft. Been meaning to fix mine for ages. Why don't I leave you gals alone to chat,
And there he goes, off to admire the bumper on Mr. Yates's car. I can admit, it's certainly a sight to behold.
Sure thing, honey. You go ahead. I'd love to compliment Mrs. Irwin on her drapery. We're still looking for some for the house, you see.
Oh, Doris, won't you come in for a cup of coffee?
Smells like spick and span. You must have just been cleaning. I hate to intrude.
Not at all. Please make yourself comfortable.
So, Margaret, I suppose there's a Mr. Irwin?
Oh, yes. He works at Willard's Pharmacy downtown. 9 to 5s, you know the drill.
He leaves you alone all day. Oh, you must be terribly bored.
Oh, I keep busy. Mostly cleaning. It's hard to socialize when all the other women are busy taking care of their children, you know?
Ah, no children?
No, we couldn't conceive. Too bad, though, because that baby would be less of a mess than he is. Am I right?
Men don't have a thought inside their brains, do they? But us women are resourceful, right? We sure can entertain ourselves, can't we, Margot? Can I call you Margot?
No one has ever called me that before. I'd like that, Doris.
Doris! He's got the Skylark! A 53 Buick Roadmaster, the Skylark, Doris!
I better be getting along now that Patty's had his fun. Oh, got a pen? Give me a bell sometime, would you? I'd love to have you join the sewing circle. Patty and I would love to have guests for dinner sometime, too.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. The Fletchers, Rhode Island for 6854. No, it's 6354.
Maybe if her hand wasn't shaking, Margaret would have been able to read it more clearly, and she would have realized that Doris's sewing circle had nothing to do with a needle and thread. But as it stood, she was quite confused about what she was feeling. She hadn't wanted to be friends with a woman this badly since high school. Mr. Irwin came home early. They closed down the pharmacy storefront to receive their shipment, presumably. Margaret was set to preparing supper, and the makings were fighting with her. Chicken still frozen, veggies gone bad, a whole lot of wasted time piling up. Mr. Irwin wordlessly made his nightly march to the fridge for a beer. Just as he was about to open the door, he paused, reading the note magnetized to the fridge.
The Fletchers?
Uh-huh. Lovely couple. They just moved in on the other side of the cul-de-sac. Introduced themselves while you were off.
Is that so? Tell you what, Maggie. Why don't we call them up? Give you a break from cooking for a night, and gives me a break from, well, your cooking.
Harry, we can't just invite ourselves over for dinner. It's unseemly and impolite.
Sure we can. You just tell them I missed them this morning, and I'd like to make up for it. If they're the hospitable type, they'll invite us over themselves.
But Harry,
Just try it.
Why, hello, Margot. It is Margot, right?
Oh, yes, that's me. Well, Mr. Irwin just arrived home from work and was terribly sorry he missed you stopping by earlier and would like to make it up to you.
Well, that sounds like a lovely idea. In fact, why don't the two of you come around for supper tonight? It's almost all ready, and I know we'd both be delighted to see you again.
If it's not too much trouble, that sounds like a wonderful idea. Doesn't it, dear? We'll be over shortly. Bye now.
After 15 hurried minutes of throwing on some clothes appropriate for a dinner party and grabbing a suitable bottle of wine, the Irwins arrive at the Fletchers. Margaret extends her hand towards the knocker when Mr. Irwin grabs her wrist.
Harry, what's the matter?
Now, don't you forget, Maggie. It's Mr. Irwin to you. I don't want another emasculating charade like the pharmacy cocktail party.
Pardon? Is what most people would say, but Margaret doesn't respond, for obvious reasons. As he releases his grip on her wrist, she daintily sounds the knocker. The door opens, and a set of sparkling eyes peers through the crack.
Hello there. Are your parents home?
The door opens all the way to a little girl in a cream-colored fisherman's sweater, a red wool skirt, and a forest green stockings.
Mama's in the living room, and Papa's in the kitchen. They told me you were coming.
The Fletcher's home was aglow with a soft orange lighting, and the smell of fresh-baked bread floating through every room. Leaving her shoes at the door, Margaret's eyes panned around the dark wood-paneled hallway. Doris's home was a cozy one, full of colors she'd swear she had never seen before. Lured into the living room by the sound of a child's laughter and Doris's cooing voice, Mr. Irwin and Margaret passed under the curved archway. There she was. Doris sat at a red velvet love seat, an embroidery hoop sitting next to her. Laughing and playing with her son, she hoisted him in the air and bounced him around, much to his delight, Margaret's heart seeming to swell at the sight and sound.
What a lovely laugh.
You mean the kid?
Yes, of course.
You're right. Cute little ankle biter, isn't he?
Oh, Margot, I didn't hear you come in. Welcome.
At this, Doris looked up, catching Margaret's eyes again. Margot found herself getting lost in the rich amber, noticing every dot and sparkle.
Why, thank you, Doris.
Good evening, Mrs. Fletcher.
The glint in her eyes that Margot was so entranced by dulled when Doris met Mr. Irwin's gaze. As she turned to look at Margot, though, it seemed to return.
Well, like I said, welcome to you both. Run along now, Stephen. Go see if Papa wants some help in the kitchen.
As he ran past Margaret, giggling, she couldn't help but notice that he looked nothing like her older sister. In fact, neither of the two seemed to bear any resemblance to Patrick or Doris. Upon Stephen's head lay a mop of blonde curls, contrasting his sister's pitch-black braids.
Margot?
It was at this point that Margaret realized that she hadn't spoken in 10 seconds.
Oh, well, here, we brought some cherry wine. Mr. Irwin and I wanted to thank you for inviting us over.
Thank you kindly for the wine, Margot. Won't you please follow me and have a seat?
Doris leads the way to the dining room, but Mr. Irwin stops Margaret before entering.
Margot?
Margaret met his eyes, seeing only perplexity in his judgmental stare.
It's only a nickname, Harry. Really, it's not a big deal.
Well, I prefer Maggie anyhow.
The couple enters the dining room and sits down, with Margot facing Doris, who was helping Patricia spread her napkin on her lap. Mr. Fletcher was entering the room with Stephen at his heels, carrying a dish of potatoes, peppers, and Italian sausage that had been roasting in the oven. The smell of oregano, pepper, and pork wafts through the room. He beamed at them as he set the dish on the table and started wiping his hands with a cloth.
Sorry to keep you all waiting, but figured you aren't the kind to want raw sausage, now are you?
Penis joke.
You'd be right. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting us over so suddenly. It smells delicious.
Oh, we're happy to have you. Dig in. Mr. Irwin, nice to meet you. Sorry we missed you earlier.
Well, sure, it's nice to meet some more guys in the neighborhood. Me, I tend to pal around with the folks from the pharmacy, but it's great to meet some people so nearby.
Sure. What's your role there, if I may ask?
Well, I'm a pharmacist. I mostly stay behind the counter and mix up medicines. We actually just got a new shipment today, the stuff called Chlorzomax.
I think I've heard some ads for it on the radio. Sounds like some fake magic mumbo-jumbo. What's it supposed to do?
Supposedly, it's a diet pill and is intended to increase gut speed and metabolism. Birds these days are swearing by it to lose weight. Of course, it got its start in the big city pharmacies and took its sweet time getting out here. But good thing it came. I was telling my wife just the other day, well, finally, you could use some of that stuff, couldn't you?
Oh, good lord. Did he really just say that? Margaret's cheeks flushed in embarrassment. The silence was palpable.
Miss Margaret is so pretty. I don't think you need any Korskamax.
Anywho, this dish is delicious, darling. Thank you for cooking.
Yes, it's great.
You know, I couldn't help but notice, Mr. Fletcher. Do you always do the cooking around here?
Well, I suppose not. I think we share in it equally, don't we, dearest?
I'd say so. The kids are great about asking to help, doing dishes and measuring out ingredients and whatnot.
Huh. Interesting. Honestly, I'm surprised a busy man such as yourself has the energy after work to cook for yourself, too. I would think that with your wife at home, she'd think it right to cook for you.
I don't believe you're insinuating that my wife's place is in the kitchen, are you, Mr. Irwin?
Is it not? I mean, that's what I expect from Maggie, and she knows it. Does her good to keep her busy, I'd say. I have my job, and she has hers, right?
My favorite food that Papa cooks are his apple cakes. They're so yummy.
Cakes? What else you got? A frilly apron to throw on while you're baking?
I, for one, think you'd look quite nice in an apron, sweetheart.
Think you'll wear some lipstick too, Mr. Fletcher? Some pearls, maybe?
Mr. Fletcher,
Doris, please allow me. Mr. Irwin, I'll have you know that I'm not quite appreciating this sense of humor of yours, and I will not tolerate it. I'll remind you that you are in our household, and perhaps we operate a bit differently around here. My children are present, and I won't have them learning this particular ideology. You're also aware, I assume, that it is 1957, and the times are changing. I regret that a dinner cooked by a man on a marriage of equals has been such a culture shock to you, but perhaps your mindset could do with catching up to the times,
Mr. Irwin was silenced, a rarity and a blessing. Patrick took a long pause and gave Doris a knowing look before continuing.
Now, tell me, Mr. Irwin, did you serve in the Second World War?
Why, yes, of course. I was in France for a while.
Fantastic. I was as well. Would you join me for a game of cards and a little heart-to-heart? I bounced around a bit. Maybe we know some of the same people.
Well, I suppose so. Why not? What's your poison?
Let's do a round of poker. Settle this like men. Although I'll warn you, I'm quite the card shark. You might be surprised. I think I have a few things to teach you.
When Mr. Fletcher mercifully pulled Mr. Irwin out of the room, it seemed Margot could finally breathe again. Doris turned to her, brows knit in a look of subtle concern.
Mama, may I be excused, please?
And me also, too.
Of course. And Patricia, be a doll and get yourself and your brother a cookie for dessert.
The kids scampered off, presumably to indulge themselves in a slightly more than their allotted cookie allowance, followed perhaps by a dive into the toy bin. The women were alone now, with a bottle of cherry wine and a couple of glasses that were down to their last dregs.
Another glass?
Please.
After Doris poured them both over, Margot's eyes followed Doris's hand as she dabbed her finger on the spilled droplet, gently placing it in her mouth.
I figure you're wondering about the children.
Perhaps. I couldn't help but notice that they don't take after either you or Patty.
Well, I'd hope not. They are adopted, after all.
Adopted? Oh, how wonderful.
Yes, they're wonderful kids, those two. Suppose you and I have that in common, then. Patty and I couldn't have our own either.
A part of Margot suspected Doris and Patrick's reasons to be just a bit different than their own, but couldn't place exactly why. In any case, she had never been with such a strong partnership before. It perplexed her. In all her life, she'd never dreamed it was possible to be so progressive, to even find someone close to an equal, compassionate partner, especially in such a small town. She pictured how her own mother had turned up her nose at the idea of raising children that weren't her own. The countless times her father had hit her mother for speaking over him. Poor Margot had seen Mr. Irwin as a breath of fresh air. Can you imagine?
A little after-dinner entertainment,
What's it got to do? What's it got to do with magic? This spell that you've got me under, I chose to test your charms. Eyes only for you. Eyes only for you, my darling. If it's magic, it's natural to me. I'll float into your arms.
You look like you know the words. Why don't you sing along?
Oh, singing isn't really for me. I don't...
Then I'll sing for
I'm enchanted by you.
Oh, my love.
I want to say I adore you.
Margot, I
I fell for you right in front of you. I don't have the words.
These aren't the words. How would you know I like them better this way?
You took every breath from my mouth.
And I did feelings like this wouldn't stop me.
Doris,
I love it all, every curve of your body.
You're too kind.
Your husband's wrong.
No, I don't disagree.
All of the time.
Oh,
I don't care
you're
if I'm
not
out of line. Damn it, I'm falling in love.
oh, I wish
That I
could be yours.
As the song and the radio faded, Margaret looks down and realizes their fingers had intertwined and curled around each other. Doris follows her line of sight and retracts her hand.
Oh, pardon me.
No, it's all fine. It's all just fine.
Margaret takes a generous sip of her wine. I don't blame her.
Is the fact that you are unable to bear children something that husband of yours cares so much about?
Well, about that, I may have misled Mr. Irwin slightly on that point.
How do you mean?
I may or may not have started the habit of tracking my monthlies. I try to keep my distance during the time that I may be the most likely to bear his children.
Oh, that's rich! You're wickedly intelligent, Margot.
Is it? It isn't exactly hard to do. Whenever we make love, or rather, whatever he thinks he's doing with me, his ugly mug looks like an electrical outlet.
In other delightful news, I believe my husband should be beating yours in poker right about now.
It'll do him good, I think.
She was everywhere Margot looked, at the supermarket, in a buttoned-up coat with a scarf wrapped around her head and tied neatly under her chin. There she was at the park, feeding the ducks with her children. Then again, getting her gas tank filled up just one pump over. Maybe she was really there, but maybe Margot was just one more incident away from checking herself into the local mental institution. But then again, there were still times that...
Hello, Margot!
Oh, hello, Doris.
Sometimes she'd see her and wave with a wide, sparkling smile. Other times it was just Margaret who noticed the other. She hoped Doris didn't catch her staring.
Good evening, Doris. I just wanted to return this Tupperware you left at my house the other night.
Well, thank you, Margot. I didn't recall I'd left one. Must have had too much wine.
And if Margot kept a hidden calendar counting down the days until it would be appropriate to request something of her neighbor again, well, it's none of my business.
Oh, hello, Doris. I hope I haven't come at an inopportune time. Would it be too much of a bother to borrow a cup of your garden? My sugar has just never looked quite so orderly as yours. How do you do it? Oh, I mean, might I borrow a cup of sugar? I only meant to compliment you on your garden. I guess I got sidetracked.
One night, Mr. Irwin comes home late from work, a sign they both usually acknowledge wordlessly that he had been visiting his mistress. Tonight, Margaret did not have dinner ready for him.
Hello, Maggie. Hello?
You're home late.
Must have lost track of time. Was helping a customer.
Oh, I bet you were helping her all right.
Excuse me?
Oh, come off it, Harry. I'm not as dense as you think I am.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why, you fast son of a bitch. I know about Loretta.
What?
The blonde. I know you're sleeping with her.
Christ, Maggie. Loretta is a fine gal. She's a school teacher, and I'll have you know her mother is ill. She comes by the pharmacy to pick up her mother's prescriptions.
Well, gee, she sounds like a perfect angel. Unmarried, too. I'll bet you slip her a pack of Philip Morris's for free whenever she comes in. Oh, never mind. I'm sure she's paying somehow.
Don't you go tarnishing her reputation and throwing insults her way just because you're jealous.
Jealous? What the hell is there for me to be green about?
Here, Mr. Irwin falling silent was less of a blessing.
So you admit it then.
Well, it's not my fault that you don't put out, Maggie.
Put out? You expect me to wait on you hand and foot without any promise of respect in return.
Well, you must need something to do since you won't give me a child. What the hell do you do around here all day? Eat corn nuts? Lays on the couch reading books and getting fat? You should be grateful I give you a sense of purpose, but since you don't want to follow that, you fell out of love with me.
Good Lord, you're obtuse, Harry. I have never loved you. How could I when you treat me like dog shit?
Harry storms over to Margaret and grabs her by the arm, pulling her up from the couch.
You bitch. What do I gotta do to make you behave again?
Get bent, Harry.
She stomps on his foot, releasing the grip on her arm.
Ah!
She attempted to flee the scene, pacing over to the kitchen. She assumed he'd give up in the face of her determination, but he didn't, and that's when she became afraid. His footsteps boomed towards her at a hurried pace. He grabbed her by the shoulders, turned her to face him, and...
I don't really know why you think this will redeem you.
Oh, sit on it, Maggie.
Don't call me Maggie.
Margaret pushes him aside and discreetly pockets the telephone number note hanging on the fridge by a magnet, fleeing upstairs.
What's this? Chlorsimax, laxative and fiber supplement, magnesium citrate, 100 milligrams, 7-pill supply, 1 week treatment. It isn't magic at all. It's a laxative. A damned laxative. Swallow these pills, crap your brains out, and then maybe you'll have a waist as trim as Loretta's baby. Oh God, what do I do? Who do I tell?
It was as if an invisible string pulled Margot to the phone on her nightstand. Margot was surprised by how taut it was, like a violin string. She looks shaken as she fishes the paper with Doris's phone number out from under her pillow.
Doris loves the violin. Dorothy Fletcher. What could she even say? Her marriage is so perfect.
Margot can keep telling herself that all she likes, but I'm pleased to report that her finger hasn't moved from the first number.
I'm worried that Mr. Irwin will listen in on the party line, but he's so glued to the television set downstairs. Maybe I have a chance. This is the last time I wash him off me. What time is it? Oh my, the sun is up.
Margot was not particularly vexed that she'd slept in or by the sun striking her eyes. It was her first reprieve in months from the 7 dreadful alarms Mr. Irwin would set every morning he'd get himself up.
I suppose he must have slept on the couch then. Here's to hoping he goes to visit Miss Loretta tonight.
To no one's surprise, he'd already called and was expecting a 5:30 p.m. Poor girl, even if she does have him wrapped around her finger.
Hello?
Oh, Margot, honey, I heard everything last night.
You what?
I came over last night to drop off those gardening shears you wanted to borrow. I heard it all through the door.
Oh, Doris, I'm so sorry.
Don't you dare apologize. You shouldn't. Let's visit the park today. The breeze will do you some good, I think. I can be over there in 2 shakes.
Where's Patty?
Oh, he's just getting some rest. He only got home from work around 6 this morning. The birds were even chirping by then.
Jeepers. Doris,
Don't worry about telling me, Margot. I told you. I overheard everything.
And even after all of that, I found those damned pills on my nightstand.
I knew you were unhappy and unsafe with him when we met. I remember I asked you how you felt being left alone by your husband all day, and you practically winced at his name. It only got clearer when you two came over for dinner. It took Patty and my combined efforts not to toss him out on the street right then and there, you know. Oh, Margot. I wish I could make the pain go away.
Doris reaches out to cup her face, but Margot audibly flinches away, which is just making my job so much more difficult. Margot wishes she could tell her that, in fact, she has made the pain so much more bearable, and even though she very well could have just said those words aloud, she did not. Nevertheless, she knew what she had to do, and by God, it was going to be beautiful. She was already set to work in the morning while Mr. Irwin was out, presumably still with Loretta. Indeed he was, but it couldn't have been more obvious when he practically fell through the door, unshaven, smelling of perfume, his face perked up with the scent of fantastic breakfast spread that Margaret had prepared.
Oh, good morning, darling. Did you lock yourself in the pharmacy overnight?
Maggie, what?
Oh, please, Harry, why don't you sit down at the table? I've already eaten and I was about to pop over to the Fletchers. I'll bring you a platter.
Well, you're quite chipper this morning. Seems like you finally come around, huh?
Margaret sets down a big plate, full plate, 4 pancakes, an omelet, 5 sausage links, and a tall mug of coffee with cream.
Enjoy, sweetheart. Mwah.
Margot threw her coat on and headed out the door. Before leaving the driveway, she dropped the contents of her clutched fist in the metal trash can. The empty packaging for a 7-day treatment of Chlorosamax.
Margot, how are you doing this morning, honey?
May I come in, Doris?
Look at your smile. Of course, please come in. So, you wanted to talk?
Her cheeks hotter than magma, her heart beating out of her chest, Margot struggled for words.
Doris, there's something
I think I've got a feeling about what you're gonna say, Margot.
You what?
I know what's going on. I see the way you look at me, and I know that holding my hand in the car the other day was more than just a friendly gesture.
I'm so sorry, Doris. I didn't mean to. I would never want to get between you and Patty. I'm not a homewrecker, I swear it. I'm sorry, Doris. I'm sorry.
What are you apologizing for, hon?
I've made you uncomfortable because I'm fond of you. I understand that we're just neighbors. Just friends.
Margot, you've got it all wrong, please.
Now, when you bring Tupperware back over, you'll probably just leave it at the front stoop rather than speak to me. And I'm going to have a heart attack driving past your home, and I can never look you in the eyes again, and you'll never give me the time of day, and we'll take different routes to the grocery store just to avoid my line of sight, and Patty will wonder why Mr. Irwin doesn't show up to poker nights anymore, and it's all my fault. It's all ruined. It's all my fault.
Margot, please. Please slow down. Margot, I'm not uncomfortable with you at all. Quite the opposite. Hun, Patty knows too.
He what?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I suppose that wasn't the best way to say that. What I mean to say is that he's a friend of Dorothy.
I understand that. He's more than your friend. I mean, I'm intruding on your marriage, for God's sake.
No, Margot. He is a friend of Dorothy.
Wait. Oh.
Yes, Margot. I think, I have some explaining to do. Patty and I grew up together back in Massachusetts. We were next-door neighbors, friends practically from birth. My folks didn't take too kindly to me paling around with a boy instead of finding myself a nice group of girls to goof around with, and likewise, his parents worried that by being around me, he'd grow up to be effeminate and homosexual. Well, as we know, that wasn't much in their control, and he learned he was the latter anyway in high school. Same as me.
That must have been terrifying.
Oh, Margot, I'm so proud of you for finally coming into your own. But if you're to join me in this venture, you have to understand our history, the people who came before us. It's not easy. It's exactly as you said. It's terrifying trying to hide who we are while remaining happy and loving who we love. It's heartbreaking at times. Try as we may to look out for each other, we've seen lives and loves lost, never to be seen or heard from again. It's a constant battle. The war certainly didn't make that battle easier for any of us. Patty was drafted at the end of high school, and before he left we made a pact to marry and allow each other that happiness under a facade that would keep us safe, if he came back alive.
Margot sat in silence, taking in all that Doris had opened up to her. Walking over to a bookcase in the living room, Doris pulled out a copy of Tolstoy's War and Peace, a 16-ton brick that no one would ever willfully read cover to cover. Flipping about 2/3 to the point of the novel, she pulled out a small photograph of a man in uniform. He had deep brown eyes, glowing tan skin, a soft smile, and a swoop of black hair turned mahogany from the sepia tone of the photograph.
That's Tommy, 435th Army Air Force Unit. Tommy was a pilot and Patrick was an engineer. Patty still writes to him back in the Philippines.
She held out the photo for Margot to see. The back, yellowed with age, read in scribbly cursive, "Chin up, soldier, to Patty with love."
So you both...
Margot, I adore you. You haven't been reading me wrong at all. In fact, I thought you could tell. It's been all I could not to whisk you away from that awful husband of yours, wrap you up in an Afghan and feed you fresh baked cookies. You are absolutely enchanting, and you deserve better. I didn't want to be presumptive or forward or...
Me neither. Doris, had you said the word, I would have dropped Harry and been at your doorstep. I adore you, Doris.
Ha ha! Finally! They gazed into each other's eyes for an eternity, completely awestruck. Doris was just stunned, as Margot was. Gaining her confidence, Margot continues with her proclamation.
When I first met you, I didn't know what I was feeling. It hit me like a train. I felt like I was in grade school again. I mean, can you blame me? How was I supposed to know that a deity had moved in down the street from me?
Doris blushes profusely, and a smile spreads across her face. Atta girl, Margot, giving her a taste of her own medicine.
So, just to be clear, Patrick knows?
Yes.
And he's okay with it?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Margot, would you just kiss me already?
Melting into each other, both Doris and Margot were positively electrified. To Margot, Doris's embrace was scary and liberating, but to her, Doris was safe, was home, was everything lovely. The TV had been left on in Doris's living room at a low volume. Margot sat trembling at the red velvet couch as Doris paced to the window, gazing outside at the fall leaves, blushing with them. She closed the drapes and paused with her hand in the TV cabinet. Try new Colossus. Well, that was just lovely. But what happened to Mr. Irwin, you may ask?
Why, hello, Harry. How lovely it is to see you again.
Ah, Loretta, you're looking beautiful as ever.
Oof, that did not sound good. Glad I never knew that guy. Wasn't that incredible, though? My heart feels so warm. Our third audio drama is titled Entropy, written by Nadir Gerber, Conrad Rascher, and Lily O'Million, starring Quinn Newman, Evan Marcus, and Catherine Lilly. Edited by Conrad Rascher.
Stories defy decay. Inevitably, all things come undone, fall apart. Even if it is on a scale that most are too small to even notice, it will happen eventually. Yet stories here disagree. The scenes presented will never move past where the story ends. These characters, upon the completion of the story they were created to tell, do not continue to age, to mold, to die. Is this comforting, to be entrenched in permanence? The wife is beside the counter of the kitchen, standing over the toaster while she waits for her bread to be done. Heat rises from it and warms her face, giving her the facade of a childish blush. Her husband sits at the round wooden table in their dining room. He's checking the news on his iPad while a cup of coffee steadily grows cold beside him. He will only remember to drink it as he's rushing out of the door. He'll promise himself that tomorrow he will savor it while it's still warm. There is no wall between the kitchen and the dining room. Easily the wife could turn to smile at her husband while she waits for her breakfast. Easily the husband could look up from the news to meet her gaze. Neither do so. They occupy the same space, separately.
I'll be bringing the groceries over to my mother's this afternoon.
I see.
I'll probably prepare dinner for her as well while I'm over. Something that can just be microwaved, so she'll have easy meals for a few days.
I'll probably be back there again tomorrow, so why bother?
I just want to be prepared. And the hospital sent a nurse over the other day to check on her. She hasn't been taking her medications at the correct times.
You already told me this.
Right, of course. When are you getting back from work tonight?
Depends on how well McGregor implemented the changes I gave him yesterday. Probably around 7.
That's so late. They work you too hard.
What else is there to do? But you're hardly home nowadays either.
That's different.
Different. Right. At least I'm being paid.
I wouldn't have to be away so much if you...
Your mom is not moving in with us. We have been over this. There's no space for her.
But the guest bedroom
is on the 2nd floor. She'd never be able to get back up there. And we're not moving in with her either.
Well, if that's decided, then I'm sure you will understand why I'm out so often. Anyway, it's usually just while you're at work, so you should hardly notice.
If we could just hire a caretaker to put her in some sort of retired living community.
I am not going to put her in...
The bread pops up from the toaster, the sudden sound of those metal springs compressing, startling a silence to grow between them. They are decaying, as are the walls of this home. The wood is rotting slowly beneath the layers of paint. Not that anyone will notice this until years from now, when a home inspector will come and recommend for every room, save the living room, to be torn down and built anew. I will still be here, then, as I am here now. Permanent, haunting, remote, watching as everything comes apart around me and bound here only as a spirit. It's late into the evening now. All the lights of the house are off. Even that lone porch light was not turned on in the rush to leave. From the street lamps, a warm and hazy gold streams through the windows. It's not enough to truly see anything by, but it lends to the impression that a world exists beneath the darkness. There is a note on the kitchen table.
Went to my mother's. She was feeling lonely. Should be home before dinner. Love, Victoria. Back before dinner, yeah. Do we even have any leftovers? Of course not. She's been doing all the cooking at her mother's place nowadays, so there's never any food for me at home. You'd think with how much I work, I'd get some special treatment when I finally retire for the day. Went to my mother's. Should be home before dinner. Let's see. There's some pasta and that sauce with the olives. Did it expire? It should be fine. But I'd have to boil the water, and that seems like too much work. I just want to rest. Damn, is it too much to ask for a nice, warm meal to be waiting for me when I get home? Least she could have done is prepared something for me and put it in the fridge, but no! There's nothing here! There's some sardines! Maybe I could have some sardines and toast. Oh! And there's some cheese as well!
Just make yourself the pasta. That pity meal of yours would smell bad enough to raise the dead. Believe me, I'd know.
Who am I kidding? That's not a meal. I'll just make the pasta.
He walks toward the cupboard in front of which I'm standing. In this moment, I forget that he is not approaching me. He cannot even see me. I forget any space outside the two of us, the distance between us closing with each step he takes forward. It is crushing in on me. This space is closing in on me, too small for my lungs to expand with any breath inward. I move out of the way, move over to the refrigerator, and away from him. It is safer here, where he's far from me, and where I cannot be touched.
I've been working all day! How is this fair?
Do you actually believe in a just world?
It's not fair is what it is. How am I expected to endure this?
You endure it because there is no other choice. You make yourself dinner because otherwise you will not eat. He fills the pot with water. The stove clicks 3 times before the gas stove ignites. This house is old, the appliances within it aging. Nothing here functions as it is meant to. He empties the box of pasta into the water, not waiting for it to be boiling. He does not break the pasta in half, and it is too long. It does not fit. He reaches into the water. It drips down his wrist as he snaps the pasta. Stray pieces of the pasta scatter upon the floor at his feet. He will not clean this up.
God damn watched pots. Who does she think she is? To be over at her mother's house! I need a drink.
He approaches me again, though it is not me that he is approaching. I move away from the refrigerator. We circle each other in the small space of the kitchen. He does not know I am here, yet I am wary of his presence at my back all the same. He cannot come close enough to touch. I cannot allow him to touch me. Please, do not touch me. Please, do not touch me. I step out of the way.
This kitchen is a mess. I can't believe you just left it like this last night.
Well, maybe if you were here to make dinner, the kitchen would be clean. Ha!
What? So all you're saying I'm good for is cooking and cleaning?
Well, I'm just saying that you've been leaving all the cooking and cleaning up to me. You're hardly ever home to make dinner anymore. I'm expected to do this all by myself.
Yeah, I'll bring some leftovers home from my mother's.
You're going back to your mother's again? It's 3 nights in a row now.
I wasn't there very much last week.
I didn't see you from Tuesday to Saturday.
She fell. I had to stay overnight.
Sometimes I feel like you're not even here. Like you're just a ghost. In and out of the house without even leaving footprints. Do I even matter to you? Am I going to see you at all after you leave today?
Of course you will.
No! You know what? I don't care.
I can't believe you.
It's always the same thing. She matters, and I know.
My mother, you're my
No,
husband.
you're not listening to me. God, you never listen.
I'm not your caretaker. You can take care of your own damn self. Honestly, I'm sick of you acting like you need me for every little thing.
Well, sometimes I just feel like your mom gets more attention than she deserves.
She's sick and dying.
You know, sometimes I wish that she would hurry up and die already.
The room goes silent. You can hear a pin drop. The husband goes to reach out to the wife, but he stops short.
I
Oh, I see.
No, I didn't mean that. It was a heat of the moment kind of thing, and that just kind of happened, and
I said, I see.
I too can see, for I have the gift of sight.
Once again, my attempts to mediate the situation are unheeded. Why do I even try to help? Maybe all I do is help to further the rift between the two.
There was a time the future lay before me, limitless with possibility. He and I were going to build our kingdom, bring our love from sea to shining sea. But the bumps in the road, they rocked and cracked us. I never knew what to do with the cuts. I'll never find another one like him. Every way I look, the future looks so grim. Living in paradise, the fairy tale that little girl was dreaming of. This is how I pay the price for falling for that dumb old scam called love.
I saw her and found what would complete me. I blink and then I'm down on one knee. The magic, the wonder flew by in a whirlwind, blowing away every part of me. But the bumps in the road, they rocked and cracked us. Years flew on by and turned play into fuss. We'll never have another chance at love. Our fate is sealed, no more dreams to speak of. Living in paradise, this is all there is in this pathetic life. Love is all that matters.
Love will give you meaning.
If this is love, I guess I'll keep on dreaming.
Living in paradise. Living in paradise. Do the dance in a trance. Never waking up. Living in paradise.
The two of us are here for good and bad. What did we sacrifice? Now it's over. I guess this was nice.
Now it's over.
Now it's over. It never begun. My time in the sun.
This is it.
This is it. This is it.
My old bed always feels so much creepier than it did when I was a kid. Ghosts of the past, I guess. Why can't you understand that I don't want this either? I prefer our bed. I want to be with him, but I can't. I do want to be with him, I do. It doesn't really seem to happen. The bed's always colder when he's gone. God, how long has it been since we've slept together in the same bed? I know it was only last week, but it doesn't feel like he's really there, even when he is. He hasn't felt like him for, God, months.
She sits alone on the bed, forlornly. I wish I could reach out, but I cannot. I'm afraid. She stares at the opposite pillow, unblinking, unmoving. Any words of encouragement or kind words I try to say die in my throat, The wife sighs as she runs her thumb over a photo of the two of them. Tears stream down her face as she sobs silently. I once again reach out to comfort her, but I am reminded that I can't. I'm unable to reach out, to have the connection and touch that I crave so badly.
What can I do? Anything all go wrong? I try, but it's like I can't even connect with him anymore. He doesn't understand. God, it's like he's choosing not to. I'm trying my best here.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to comfort her. No matter what I say, it goes unheard as if I'm invisible. Why won't anybody listen to me? I'm always staring, watching, but it is as if my words are a cry in the dark, an unheard and misunderstood whisper. I'm unable to interact. If she could see the pain in his eyes that I see, perhaps their fights would be fewer or less difficult to watch. The venom in his words to her comes from a place of deep hurt that only I bear witness to, even though he does not know that I'm watching. It is the kind of pain most only show when they think none are watching. But I am watching, whether I want to or not. The wife rises from the bed, and I am left alone on the rumpled sheets, watching as she crosses the room to the closed door. She does not turn to look back at me. I look only at her. I follow her down the hall to the guest bedroom. We linger here with her hand pressed against the door, warming the white paint beneath her palm. She knocks.
Are you awake? Can I come in? I'm coming in.
Her husband is sitting upright in the bed on top of the sheets. He holds a book in his lap, but none of the pages are dog-eared, and no bookmark lies beside him. He does not look at his wife in the doorway. Instead, his gaze is focused on the space beside her, intent on his disregard. Here, he is watching me.
We should talk.
It's late.
I can't sleep. We should talk.
Not my problem. Just turn on the white noise machine. Good night.
You can't just... I don't like this. Please, I miss you.
You're the one who's gone all the time.
I know, but my mother, you know. I just can't leave her alone. I'm her daughter. I'm her daughter. I have to take care of her.
Then that's it. You have to take care of her. There's nothing else for us to talk about.
But you're upset.
Of course I'm upset. You're never here. And when you are, all we ever talk about is your mother. She's haunting us, I swear. I love my wife. I miss my wife. When will you give her back to me?
I'm still here.
No, you aren't.
What now, then? Is this... Are we... But you still love me. You still love me.
I just don't know.
I want us to be happy. I want that happiness to be together.
Her husband rises from the bed. He's not a small man, but the shadows of the room whittle away at him until he is little more than a faint silhouette of himself. Of course, this is how it ends. Nothing known between them as they cast their gazes away to not be witness to how it all unravels. Yet, look at this. Why do they do this? Even now, the husband comes toward his wife. She does not step away. I do not step away, not prepared for him to approach. He pulls her forward, arms wrapped around her waist, head tucked into the side of her neck. His arms pass straight through me, and I am caught between them. I move away, but it is too late. He touched me. He can't. I can't. Please, no. No. They are in an embrace together. Maybe there is not happiness there now, but they are together. And me.
Time marches onward, beating like a drum, haunting here through the years, feels like a game. Even with all this change, so much stays the same. Well, that's the bittersweet part, watching the stories unfold from the start. All the mistakes, then the heart breaks over and over again. Time flies on by in the blink of an eye, and then they die, and it's just me again. How do they feel? Their lives have endings, so maybe they feel real. So I won't stare forward in time. I will just soak in the sunshine. Watch all the laughter, the lows and the highs. Living has meaning 'cause everyone dies. Everyone dies. Everyone dies.
Wow. That's really all I can say. We've got some intense audio dramas this time around, huh? We'll close it out with 300 Breaths, written by Alec Bayonetto, Don Lau, and Rashika Rao, starring Maddie Nolan, Kiva Nguyen, Abby Waller, Grace Metcalf, Noor Dado, Max Salemi, and Shayna Lepatin. Edited by Oliver Higgins.
Time check. It's 10:02 on September the 6th on this lovely morning, and you're tuning into Channel SDS News.
We are back with a breaking story. The long-awaited expedition to find the wreck of the famous pirate ship Neptune's Scourge, financed by CEO and entrepreneur Jay Belmont, begins in just 3 days.
Yes. Belmont said in his exclusive interview that they have always been fascinated by Neptune's Scourge and the fabled treasure it sank with ever since they were young, reading stories about it, even going as far as getting a diving license to go exploring.
That's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Such a multifaceted person. It's probably good that they didn't go into professional diving, though. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Congo Prime overnight delivery now. Anyways, we're sure our audience at home is equally excited to get an inside look at the operation. Lee's on site with the newest update. How's it going?
Oh, hi. Sorry about that. I think we're a little stressed, but preparation is going well. What's my role? I do a little bit of everything. Sorry, I think Captain Baker is calling me. You can interview Stevens over there, though. They're the engineer.
So what have you got there? It looks complicated.
It's the sonar dome. I'm checking if it's working. It's how we'll navigate down there.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Why are you here? What do you hope to accomplish on this mission?
I'm the engineer of the sub. What do I want? What kind of stupid question is that? To find the damn thing like everyone else. Get loads of money from it and retire, dude. Come on.
It would be quite the story if you found the Neptune Scourge, wouldn't it?
Obviously.
Thank you for your time. Now, the captain of the ship, Captain Baker. How do you feel about this mission?
Like Rivera said, it's definitely a lot of work, but nothing I haven't done before, being from the Navy. We have all the gear and the evidence that has been gathered throughout the years, and I'm absolutely certain that we will succeed.
That's the kind of confidence we like to hear. I'm sure that Mr. Belmont will also be proud to hear that. Speaking of my colleague, we have an exclusive interview from them. Let's hear it right after the break. Again, you're listening to Channel SDS News.
Fucking hell, Stevens, what the fuck did you think you were doing? You know there wasn't enough space. What did I say before? Look at the big circle to see where you can pass. I don't fucking care that it worked before.
With all due respect, Baker, I didn't exactly see many other options. Did you see the size of that damn thing chasing us?
It's Captain Baker, and I'm the commander of the ship. You do what I tell you.
Hey, please, don't yell for a second. We can figure out a way to get through this. But where's everyone? Is everyone okay? Oh, there you are.
Dude! Ouch!
Oh, sorry. Are you okay? Did you hurt yourself? Do you need help?
Do me a favor, shut up for a sec.
Okay.
Nobody move. I'm getting the emergency generator running.
You're bleeding. Did you break your arm? That angle doesn't look right. I can help fix it.
Huh, I guess I did.
All right, the lights are back on. Now we just need to get everything else rebooted. We should still have some first aid supplies in the supplies. Can you see what you can do about it?
What does this twerp know about arm splinting?
As much as you, I'd imagine. They're the best you're getting until our feet are back on dry land. I need to get our radio signal back.
Come in, Kraken. Do you read me? Over.
Kraken here. We copy.
Riley!
Casey, you're okay. What's it looking like down there?
Hard to say. I'm still trying to patch Stevens up. Busted their arm real good when we hit the seafloor. And... there. That should hold for now.
Alright, thanks. I should probably take a look at our life support systems.
What happened? You guys went radio silent for almost 10 minutes.
Fuck! The air circulation system is compromised. Oxygen harvesting machine is shot to shit. 3 liters of oxygen left in the system.
What? That's barely 300 breaths left each. Half an hour if we're being generous. Do you have any dive tanks left?
We were on our way up. We only have 1 fresh tank. The rest are mostly empty from our scouting dives. We lost our main propeller on impact, too. We're not going anywhere.
We'll see what we can do. Anything else?
I think Steven's arm is broken, but I got it splinted. And everything will work out. Well, maybe not the treasure, but everything else.
Captain Baker, can you send your coordinates over and we can see what we can send over to help?
Roger that. 24 degrees, 52 minutes, 12.2 seconds north, 56 degrees, 41 minutes, 8.6 seconds west. Elevation, 657 meters below sea level. Command, do you read me?
Copy that.
What? If you're reading those numbers right, we're fucked. Nothing's gonna get down here in half an hour.
Would you be quiet? I'm trying to think. All right. Stevens, you're going to have to coach Rivera through fixing the oxygen harvesting system on the outside of the sub. That's the only way we'll make it through to rescue.
Are you kidding me? That's one of the most complicated pieces of tech on this submarine. I have a PhD, and I'm not even sure if I'd be able to fix it, much less whatever the hell they are.
You're welcome to start being a team player at any time, Stevens, but pretty soon it'll be too late for that to matter.
Red-ass little... Whatever. You're the captain. You're right. Of course. If we can get a goggle camera on them, hopefully we can stream to the monitor in here so I can at least see for myself what the situation is. I can handle the tech setup one-handed. You get them into a dive suit.
Update command first. See if Mr. Belmont has any brilliant suggestions.
What's your damage? He's funding this entire expedition.
Yeah, on this death trap. Spent so much money drumming this up with the media when he doesn't have the first clue what it takes to conduct a mission this deep.
I bet you're just jealous because he's made more money than you'd see in 10 lifetimes. Snarky know-it-all. I'm so great. I'm from the Navy. I bet you never had to suffer a day through life.
Do you think I'm motivated by jealousy? I was happily retired, and then this call comes in. They wanted my name on the project because I was a big name back in the Navy in the day. I was all set to say no, but he offered to put my grandkids through college, whether or not we found Neptune's Scourge. I had to put myself through school, so sue me for wanting better for my grandkids.
Sorry, Captain. Not to interrupt, but I need you to hook the air tank up to my helmet.
Sorry, right. Stevens, get the camera hooked up to the main display. And update command already.
On it. Command, we're sending Rivera to fix our air circulation. I will be coaching them through the necessary steps. I can't do so myself with just one arm, unfortunately.
Stay safe.
Thanks, Rye.
Right? Actually, never mind. Here's a toolkit. Are you ready, Rivera?
As I'll ever be.
All right. I'm closing the airlock now.
Alright, you're looking for the big orange box on the port side. There, up ahead. I don't know why I'm pointing, it's not like you can see me.
All right, I'm there. What now?
The panel on the front should slide off to give you access. Oh, there, just like that. Sorry, can you get your face closer to the box? I need a good look at what's going on in there.
Are you sure it won't blow up in my face?
Almost positive. Now get closer. Thank you. Can you lift that hose to the right side there? Ah, damn, all those bubbles. Definitely a leak somewhere in the system.
Anything I can do to fix it?
Do you have the materials to replace that hose segment?
I should. I brought the whole kit out with me.
Great. There's obviously water in the system, so you don't need to worry about draining it or anything. Normally we would only do these kinds of repairs on dry land, but there's a first time for everything, I guess.
Just enough hose to fit this section.
Great. Cap, can you go back to the circulation unit and get ready to run a full system reboot?
Roger that.
Okay, the new segment is in place. What happens now?
Let me zoom in on this. Do all the wiring connections still look secure?
As far as I can tell.
Well then, get her started, Captain.
Aye aye.
Damn it! This is why we do repairs when we're not 20,000 leagues under the sea. Rivera, you may as well come back in. The whole system is fried now. The air we've got is it for us.
I'm sorry. I tried my best. I really did. It's probably my fault, isn't it? I'm so sorry.
No, it's not your fault. Come back in. Nothing for you to do out there now.
Maybe I could get the propeller reattached?
On dry land, it takes a crane to lift that thing. It's not going anywhere, Rivera. Now get back in here and we can figure out what to do next.
I'm almost back to the airlock.
Kraken, status update? Any look on the repairs?
Negatory. Oxygen harvesting system is blown entirely.
It's all my fault, babe. I'm sorry.
Don't be ridiculous. It was a fool's errand. And don't call me babe.
What? No. Riley is my partner. We'll have been married 3 years in November. Or, I guess we would have.
What the fuck?
There's still time to figure out a way to fix this. I never let a crew down before, and I've done this for 20 years. I really don't plan on starting now. I'm living through this, I swear on my life.
All due respect, Captain, the odds are against us.
Casey, I'm so sorry. I wish I'd never told you about this job opening. I know it's not even in your field, but you were beating yourself up so much about not being able to find a job.
You were just trying to help, Rye. You had no way of knowing it would go tits up like this. Hold on. I'm sorry. Do you think we could get some privacy?
Where would you like us to go exactly? The other side of this 10-foot wide cabin?
We don't have time for any more of this. Stevens, being hostile and passive-aggressive will get you nowhere. Rivera, I would have appreciated knowing about this conflict of interest before our expedition began. Wow, does anybody else have any more news here? Pregnancy announcements? Because everything that can go wrong is going wrong here and now.
Conflict of interest? What? We're all trying to get us back to the surface, Riley included.
It's about professionalism, Rivera, and
Kraken, come in. I have Commander Charlie Wade on the line.
We read you. What's the word, Commander?
We're sending another submarine down to retrieve you ASAP. Mr. Belmont was able to call in some favors and recruit a rescue team.
That's just great. It took us over an hour to get down here. Yo, Charlie, tell my mom I love her when Belmont's cronies find our deoxygenated corpses on the fucking sea floor.
Christ, no need to be so morbid. Maybe it'll work out. It's better than nothing.
Would you all shut up down there? This sub that Mr. Belmont is borrowing from a fellow entrepreneur, it's still in its beta stages of testing, but initial reports suggest we can be optimistic it will reach you all in time.
What do you suggest we do until then?
Unless your sub is salvageable, conserve the air as best as you can, and await further instructions.
Wait,
Command signing off.
Wait, no, Riley!
Best to keep the line open for urgent communications, Rivera.
Urgent? What could they possibly have to tell us more urgently than that we're going to be out of oxygen in less than 20 minutes?
So that's it? If the sub doesn't get down here in time, I just never get to talk to my partner again?
Yeah, what's up with that? They were saying they got you this job?
I mean, well, they told me about the position. They were on the team for the beginning of the project, so they let me know as soon as they were officially hiring crew for the sub itself. And now I'm here, despite not really being any of the things they're looking for.
Where did you used to work?
I was at Sigma Corp for a while until they went bankrupt because of all the corrupt bigwigs at the top of the food chain. After that, I probably applied for 30 jobs, but it's a limited field, so I never made it past the interview stage. It's not like they just handed me the job, but I know Rye. They definitely feel like this is on them for telling me about it.
Well, if we don't make it out of this, it's no one's fault but my own. I'm supposed to be captain. What the hell kind of captain am I? When I signed onto this project, I said I was going to get you in there and back up, and now we're...
Don't do that. You're no more to blame than the rest of us. We couldn't have seen this coming.
No, I let myself dream too loftily. I was in retirement for 3 years, and every piece of tech has been upgraded twice over. It feels like I'm in a damn alien spaceship.
Hey, Captain Baker?
Morgan.
What?
Morgan Baker. Just, please call me Morgan.
Okay, Morgan. I'm the engineer here, so it's not your fault that our radar didn't set off the alert until it was too late.
I guess if there's anyone to blame, it's rich jackasses who think they can play treasure hunter without getting their hands dirty.
Oh, hey, come on, don't pin this on Mr. Belmont.
Why not? Spared no expense my ass. This mission was underfunded from the fucking start.
He's a visionary.
Why are you trying to stick up for him? What has he done for you besides seal you in a metal death trap?
I don't know. I want to be him, I guess. You know? Don't you wish you had the money to just throw away on passion projects like these just to be able to do what you want without having to worry about whether spending this dollar is going to make you go into debt?
This is more of a media stunt than a passion project. If he cared, he would have done it right.
How the hell would he have known? Shit happens!
Kid, I've been in the Navy for the past 2 decades. The ship isn't built for this kind of expedition. We should have known what kind of marine life was around here, what we could possibly run into, and we were fucking blindfolded and thrown into the shit, and next thing we know, we're here in a sinking submarine with no air. Couldn't have known, seriously.
Is this it? I don't want to spend my last minutes arguing with you all. I know we don't know each other very well, but I don't know. I wish we had more time. Just something else, I suppose.
There's a place in the darkness that calls to boats of the deep, far away
won't save us, but welcomes with open arms. Skies alive won't forget us. History's taken its mark.
And we know that all courses lead to lands. And we'll know when the great compass rolls. There's two cross friends. To the masters, know we've adapted to what you said. Bloodstained soak all of these souls of ours. In our graves, the bones keep the score. They're yours now. And allies all, with untold riches, stories weeping to lead us. But first we'll get to the end of the line.
Kraken, do you read me? Come in, Kraken.
Riley, what is it?
There's good news and bad news.
Ah, great.
Bad news. The sub's experiencing technical difficulties and is progressing much slower than anticipated under higher pressures. Good news is they brought a load of spare oxygen tanks. They're going to drop them from directly above you. They should sink quickly, and if someone can swim out and grab them, they will give you time until the submarine itself can reach you.
But with underwater currents and other sea life, those tanks could land miles from us.
Captain, it's the only option at your crew's disposal. I just got word that the submarine has released the tank, so now all you can do is wait.
Captain, I think we better get the oxygen masks on and switch to our dive tanks. The oxygen levels in the air are hitting critical concentration.
On it. These are our spent ones from scouting. We should save the one you used when trying to repair the sub for when I try to retrieve the tanks they're dropping.
What? You should let me go. I can be fast. I promise I won't fuck it up again.
No, I'm the captain. It's my job to make sure we all get out of this. Now mask up. If any of you start feeling short of breath, tell me. We can trade off masks or pass them back and forth.
So I may need to take you up on that, Captain. Mine's almost out.
What? These were all almost a quarter full when we got back.
Must have been damaged on impact, Captain.
Fuck, we don't have extras.
God. This can't be happening. Not right now. We're fucked.
Stevens, what's gotten into you? Yeah, we might not be able to do anything, but you're really trying to kill yourself by doing this. Do you want to die because this is how you die?
Sorry, Captain. I'm trying to calm down. I'm fucking trying to calm down. Everything's fine. Everything's good. It's just... I don't want to fucking die. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh fuck.
It's okay. It's okay. Just try to slow your breathing. Deep breath in. Long breath out.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ray. I shouldn't have snapped.
Not you. It's not like we could have done anything. Oh, we're screwed. We're so screwed. We're so screwed.
Okay. You're okay. We just have to wait. Can you count with me? 1 in, 2 out. Again. 1, 2. There you go. Steady.
Thanks. I think, however, mine's actually out now.
I'll share with you. Here.
Wait, Casey, what? You...
No, there's nothing else I can do. I was never really supposed to be here. I don't have the qualifications like the captain and Stevens do. If Steven gets knocked out, nobody will know how to repair this ship. This is the least I can do.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah, I love you too. But don't say it like that. I'll see you again. This is just temporary. We'll get the dive tanks and everything will be fine.
Thank you. And, you've helped too. You splinted my arm and tried to repair the oxygen tank. If only I didn't trust that fucker and his grandiose vision. What the fuck is the use of any money I can get if I'm just gonna sink with it at the bottom of the ocean?
They're right. We all just want the best of what we got.
Hush. No talking. We're wasting oxygen. No use regretting it now. It's not too late to start over if we get out of here. What's that?
What the fuck else? The dive tanks! Come on, help me!
No, I'll go. Whatever our motivations, I'm still the one in charge at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'm captain. I'm responsible for the ship.
Are we sure that sounds like dive tanks?
They might be.
I'll get the dive tanks. No problem, and then we can figure out what to do from there. Help me suit up.
Right on, Captain.
Coming, Captain.
Hey, Captain. In case you...
No. No in case.
And that's all we've got. Thanks to everyone watching. Hope you all enjoyed this semester's audio dramas. Have a good night, and let's have a round of applause for everyone who made this possible. Thank you all so much.